Think closer to resolution in some of the open starting positions, the guard position, maybe one of the defensive ends. Any resolution there? Have you made firm decisions?
No, and again, it's a rotation. So if really who plays the first play means nothing. It's I think as on the defensive line or Wood with that offensive group is just who are we going to rotate through there. So it really is no concern. We started the national championship game and 2 running backs started on the first play, Kenyon and the Michael run. I think that put LT on the bench for a play, but that doesn't mean LT's not a starter. So and our guys don't look at it. It's just am I in the rotation? So we haven't really talked about that, and really dependent on who's going to. I mean, we'll talk. Really, our final personnel meeting is the Saturday before the game. We meet as a coaching staff and we kind of go back over it. So who are you going to go with? And sometimes it'll go right up until game time of who's going to get the first snaps. But we're always going to rotate a lot of guys in.
I was remiss. Please raise your hand. We'll have a mic, portable mic come to you.
Rob raised it.
Rick Morgan.
Quick with it.
Coach, I know that you spend a lot of time talking about preparation, and you consider that to be one of the keys. How much time do you spend addressing inspiration, rising to the moment of a big game like this one?
I think that's all part of preparation, but again, this is the biggest game we play, so I think our players will be fired up. But if someone's conjuring up that coaches at our level are Newt Rockney in speech and just before the game, and all of a sudden these kids that weren't really excited get really, really excited and run out in the field, and that's not what it's all about. I think the inspiration part really is to make sure that you recruit players that have a passion for the game and are great competitors. And most of the time, I find myself trying to calm our guys down more than trying to inspire them, to be honest with you.
Sam Finley.
Yes, talk a bit about Brandon Hanna and what he's going to mean to the defensive line this season.
Yeah, Brandon played a key role for us last year and played a lot of significant snaps for us, and that's one of the keys to what we're doing is that a lot of guys play in the D-line. So it's not like this will be Brandon's first time ever playing in the game. He was a big contributor for us last year, and I think he'll play more snaps during the game, but I'm real confident in what he can do. He's got great knowledge. He's a linebacker. When he first came in here as a recruit, then we moved him really to what's like a drop backer for us, and he's done a great job, and we expect not only production out of him, but he's been really one of our leaders in that group.
Ron Mosley.
Depth on your defense, safety particularly, you look particularly deep, but maybe young corner. You've talked about 7, 8, 9 at defensive line being guys you want to identify. How do you feel like that has come along over the last month, and who are some guys that you look to as 7, 8, 9 D-line? How do you feel about the backup corners?
We feel good. I'll start the D-line. Those guys have done a really good job. Obviously, you got 6 that have played a lot, and Ricky and Wade and Taylor and Turner and Hannah and Jordan. Is that 6?
Yeah.
That's 6. You throw Ebert in the mix, Tony Washington in the mix. Isaac Remington's had a great camp. I think that'll be hopefully what we'll kind of round out as 9. And then in the secondary, Troy's really competed back there, to go along with Terrence Mitchell. And then I think right now, Efo's in the mix over there, with Cliff being out, backing up Anthony. So.
What has he shown particularly, Efo?
Efo's just, there's a maturity to him. And I think that's usually sometimes the questions when you have some young guys is that a lot of guys come in here and they all have athletic ability, but it's, how quickly do they grasp the system? Michael Clay was one of those guys. Some of the kids that have played in the past couple of years that just, they just had a sense of, that I don't think, and our hope is that Efo will be, when he does play, isn't going to be intimidated by the venue or wherever we are. It's their first college football game. So, I really liked how he's come along, and I know John's been really excited about it.
Over here. A lot's been made out of D'Anthony and Colts, and you mentioned Efo there. Do you see any other newcomers that might be playing an impact in the first game?
I don't know, and I don't know if impact is a word, but I just think at some of our positions they may have to play. So, Efo's a kid that may have to play, D'Anthony may have to play, Colt may have to play, and I think some of that is a byproduct of obviously their talents, but some of it's also a byproduct of that we have some injuries at those positions, and there's not a lot of depth at those positions. So, you may see Trey a little bit. It really just depends on how the games goes with the Michael and Kenyon. So.
Lindsay.
Chip, have you decided how many guys you're going to take with you, and will Kiko and or Cliff make the trip?
We have not decided on how many guys we'll take with us. So.
And what about Kiko? Do you have a?
We haven't made any decisions on who's going where, so that's all. Our travel rest isn't until later on in the week. So.
Pasha, we're going to go to the phone lines. We'll take calls now. If you have a question for Coach Kelly, please press *1 on your telephone keypad, and we'll take questions.
Your first question comes from the line of Scott Hot Rod.
Asha, we can't hear the question.
Scott, your line is open.
Okay, hey Coach, I just wanted to see if you could talk about your recruitment of Darren Thomas. Obviously, he was an LSU commitment at one point, and the door opened late for you guys. And do you suspect that Darren will have a little extra incentive going into this game?
Yeah, Darren, I think gets excited in when he gets to play in games like this. He was like in the national championship game, and he's matured. I think as you watch him grow up all last season, and I know he's excited to play in this one. He's got a lot of, I think actually a couple cousins that play for LSU. So, we recruited Darren early, and then he had committed to LSU, and they were recruiting him as an athlete. And then I got a call from his high school coach, Bob Jones, and wanted to know if we were recruiting him as a quarterback, and we were. And then Darren came up and took a visit, and then committed to us. I think it was just the opportunity to play quarterback here was probably the overriding factor for him.
Asha, do you have any more questions waiting?
There are no further questions.
Okay. Jake?
You mentioned on the phone call earlier about the young guys haven't played in a stadium with 100,000 people in it. Still, playing in Glendale last year in that huge NFL venue, kind of a dome type venue, do you think that'll help veterans that played in that game play in kind of that massive type environment?
Yeah, but we played at Tennessee was the biggest stadium we played in, so that would probably be the one that I think our players would go back to. We played in 100,000 plus at Tennessee, so I think, I don't worry about our older guys. They've been in big venues. You played in front of 90-something when we played at USC, played in 100,000 at Tennessee, so they've played in big venues. It's just those young guys haven't played in college football games, so you really don't know what to expect out of those guys because I've never seen them, in that situation, and you hope they can handle it, but some guys do, and then other guys get caught staring into the stands for the first couple of quarters, and that's just kind of the nature of what the whole deal's all about. So.
Similarly, have you talked to them about kind of the quirks of that stadium, specifically with Jackson Rice and the big scoreboards up there as a punter? Have you addressed that with them?
No, we haven't. We'll go take a look at the stadium on Friday when we get there, and so we can touch base on that then.
The Heat, have you guys been doing anything to prepare for the Heat down there? The guys coming out of practice, they mentioned it was really hot in the Shawnee Center.
It was. It seemed like it was hot. I don't know why it was hot. It did seem a little hotter today.
So that wasn't a purposeful thing?
No.
Finished?
Yeah.
Okay, Steven?
Chip, this is the third opening game you've had as a head coach. Compared to the other two years, how ready do you feel like this team is?
I'll find out when you find out. I'm not a guy that's making predictions that we feel good or we don't feel good. Today's still Tuesday. We're not playing the game till Saturday, so we've got a huge day of preparation tomorrow, another one on Thursday, another one on Friday, and then we'll get ready to go play the game. So.
Coach, even during the spring, your players were talking about how they anticipated the pace of practice would increase, and sitting from the soccer stands, it looked like things were going at a pretty good clip. Do you think that your pace during practice increased, or was it about the same as it had?
We've increased a little bit. I think we found a way to practice a little bit faster, and that's what we're trying to get accomplished and be more efficient. Obviously, when you can practice faster, you can get more reps. When you get more reps, you can get more players involved, and that's kind of what our goal is, to make sure that we're improving the entire team. So the amount of reps our third strings and fourth string guys got during camp was a lot higher than it's ever been, but it's because of how we practice. So it's a matter of, we knew we were going to be a really young team. We only had 10 scholarship seniors on the football team and 40 some odd redshirt or true freshmen. So, with that youth, we knew we had to do something from a practice standpoint to make sure that those guys were getting reps, and we felt like we practiced faster. So.
Lindsay?
How's Huff? He walked out today in full pads. Was he able to do more today than
Huff looks
yesterday?
good.
Do you think he's going to play?
Excuse me?
Do you think he's going to play?
I don't know. We don't have a game today.
Rob?
Keeping with trying to get you to make predictions, you mentioned a couple times this offseason about, in hindsight, based on the totality of Darren's game and the title game, maybe could have thrown it a little bit more. But I think it's fair to say too, he started a little slow in that game. Would you expect it that he's just a little more comfortable based on that experience, hitting the ground running in another big game now coming up?
You hope so. Everybody you hope is going to learn from their experiences. So that's for kids like himself, Boyette or Pleasant or Michael or Kenyon that really played significant roles in those games. You hope they're a little bit more settled, but you never know, because I've never been there, so I'm interested to see what the stadium looks like and if it is quirky.
Just talking about more a big game, you know?
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's
Excitable.
what the whole thing kind of lends itself to it. So, you know, I would hope though, I think that, you know, that's what we're kind of banking on a little bit.
Michael?
Darren obviously threw for a ton of yards in that game. Obviously, though, lost some experience at receiver. Have you thought about that at all going into another game with a big SEC team?
Have we thought about Jeff Mail and Drew Davis being gone? Yes, I think about that a lot. But there's nothing we can do about it. So it's really a matter of, you know, LT stepping up, which I really think he's done during camp and done a great job. And then how do those young guys come along? You know, I mean, really, what do we do, and who are those other guys that go along with them, whether it's Huff or Hoffman or whoever those other guys are going to be. It's just a matter of you can't really spend a lot of time worrying about what's gone. It's just about trying to see who those new guys are and who's going to emerge out of that group.
Jordan?
How well do you know, if you do at all, Les Miles? Have your paths crossed if they have?
Never.
Never?
I've never met Les.
Really? Just in terms of, you have contemporaries that the way the coaching world works that you know him well? Or?
I don't know anybody that knows Les.
Really?
I've never crossed paths with him.
That's a little unusual.
It is kind of, but I mean, kind of where we are. I mean, I grew up in, you know, coaching New Hampshire until 4 years ago, and then I came out here to the West, so I don't really have many ties to the South. So.
You seen his YouTube, his game day commercial?
Yeah, I saw it.
Thoughts on the?
I liked it. I thought it was funny. I think all of them were funny. There's some other ones. I've seen all the other ones. The other one's pretty good too.
You like what they did with yours and the signs?
I loved it. Can't wait to do another one.
Steven?
Chip, last year against New Mexico, you said that you sort of didn't have as open of a playbook. Do you anticipate
I never
this?
said that, did I?
That's what you told us after the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, that wasn't the plan going in. It was that all of a sudden we got a lead of 45 points, so we're not going to air it out. We're not going to try to embarrass the team, and we're trying to put your 2s and 3s in the games. So, but we didn't go into the game saying, hey, we're going to only show X amount of our players because of other opponents coming up. Is that we were fortunate enough that we got a pretty good lead, and when we get a lead, you know, we become a very vanilla offense when we get a lead. But that's not the plan going in. I can tell you that.
Okay, so in this game, the plan is to have a wide open playbook and see what you need.
The plan is to win. Flat out win. Whatever calls are going to get us to win, that's what we're going to try to find out to do. And really, that's our goal in every game. But I've never gone into a game saying, hey, we're playing team X, and we only have to run X amount of plays. I think if you do that, you kind of set yourself up for an opportunity to fail. We have the utmost respect for no matter who we play, and we have got, you know, a set game plan in for every situation that we have, and hopefully that we can execute that game plan.
Ken?
Hey, Chip, I apologize if this has already been asked. I got in late.
It's okay.
Your offensive line, how do you feel about it going into the game? Particularly, you got a new center.
Yeah. We're going to be young, you know, and we've known that since January 10th that we were going to be young. That we've lost, you know, 3 really, really good players that had a ton of experience in Jordan and Bo and CE. So I love the way Ronas has progressed. You know, but there's got to be a first time for everybody. So you know, that's kind of the cards we've been dealt, and we got to deal with them. Everybody deals with it. Everybody's lost people to graduation or whatnot. So we will be young, but we still, you know, we got 3 kids that got experience really in Darian and Carson and Mark, and they're going to have to lead and make sure that we can make adjustments on the sideline, whatever. But I got a lot of confidence in Wood going in, but we'll see how those young guys react.